Yes, it is that time. Good morning, everybody. I'm here, and I just realized this morning I looked it up, and if you haven't seen my tweet yet, today is the 2-year anniversary of the day that I started this show. It was January 14th, 2019. I did not realize that till this morning. So what I'm going to do is I am going to have a 2-year anniversary show, but I will do that a week from Saturday. I believe that would be the 23rd. Is that right? What did I say? I put it in a tweet earlier. Maybe I should figure out what I said this morning. My anniversary show will be on January 23rd, Saturday. So it'll be a special show just to celebrate 2 years of doing this, and it's been fun. I'm not even close to being cynical or bored with it. I absolutely have fun doing this show every day after more than 500 episodes, and I'm looking forward to doing 1,000 more minimum. This has been great fun. All you who come here and support the show are fantastic. And listen to you in the chat and meeting new people and people who come on during the call-in shows and everything. I love everything about it. And I love talking because for some reason excuse me, I am, I guess I enjoy running my mouth and again, interacting with all of you. So thanks to all of you. Some of you have been here. It's funny because I went back while I was at work this morning and I listened to, it must have been like the 63rd episode. It was one with when Candace Owens testified before Congress, and I was kind of razzing her a little bit, and I realized there's a whole bunch of you that were here that long ago, and so it's kind of cool. Lindsay, coming to the story was, I think it was the first or second. It was in that first week that Covington happened. And then on the 29th of January, we got Jussie Smollett. So 2 weeks of Covington and then right into Jussie Smollett. And it was wow, it was a good time to start doing this for me. So it's a lot of fun. But I need to press ahead right away. Again, that 2-year anniversary show will be on Saturday, the 23rd of January. But let's see. What's happening in the news today? We'll talk about that after the intro. Play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Knight. And stop that music. Welcome, everybody, to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet, and welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. It is Thursday, the 14th of January, 2021, where I did my first show 2 years ago today. But again, this is not the 2-year anniversary show. It just happens to be the actual day. Again, I'm going to be doing a 2-year anniversary show on Saturday, January 23rd, probably the same time in the morning, so roughly around 9 Central, 9 or 10 Central, somewhere, something like that. But anyway, we're going to talk about, guess what? Well, it says it right in the title. The selectively edited impeachment. I got to tell you, I watched a whole bunch of that, the House impeachment hearing, which was really just seeing how many Democrats could say the words incitement and what was the other word they used? Insurrection, inciting insurrection, which neither of those things happened, by the way. If you really just stop stop and think about it for just a couple minutes and listen to the words the president said, and you know the legal definition of incitement, which clearly all those lawyers in the House of Representatives, which a vast majority of those representatives are lawyers and should know the law and realize that incitement's a pretty tough bag to get through a court, right? But it's funny to me how few of them seem to know what that even means. And then, but again, you know, they have a narrative. And look, if you notice, they have been very successful in getting that narrative into the media. And I mean all media, not just the regular old run-of-the-mill left-wing, you know, the mainstream stuff, but even the right-wing media say those same words: mob, insurrection, sedition, incite. And definitionally, they're completely and utterly stupid. All right. Were there people who broke the barrier into the Capitol building? Of course there were. Were they an organized bunch that was actually an insurrection that was incited by the President of the United States? Nope. Because let me I'm gonna say, I probably said this yesterday. I don't know if I said this to y'all or if I said this to Lady Boomer, but there were tens of thousands of people listening to the president yesterday, right? Tens of thousands of people listening to the president speak. And first of all, if the timeline is correct that I'm hearing about, the breach of the Capitol building happened 40 minutes before Trump's speech was over. That's one thing. But let's just say that he was trying to incite an insurrection. Why exactly, if that was supposed to be an insurrection, there's tens of thousands of people there. And he's trying to get, if Donald Trump is trying to get tens of thousands of people to go raid the House building, the Capitol building, why were there only about 200 or 300 people that went into the building when there's tens of thousands of people? If this was supposed to be a coup or an insurrection, why was only a couple hundred people that went in the building? And the FBI is only looking for 140 right now. That doesn't sound like a coup. Also, if you look at what they were doing once they got inside the building, at one point they were staying inside the ropes. They weren't even like in the first, like one of the rotundas, they were all staying inside the velvet ropes as they were entering the building. What the hell is that? How is that an insurrection? Now, granted, FTG to all the ones who were breaking windows and ransacking offices or whatever they were doing, and even the ones who, like, look, I get you think it's funny to sit in Nancy Pelosi's office, but FTG to the ones who pulled her sign down, who stole her laptop. I can't stand Nancy Pelosi, but I'm sorry, that's our Capitol building. We need to respect. No matter how much you disrespect the people who work at that building, that's not our style. That's not what we do. That's not conservative at all. But let me go back to this idea of insurrection, instigating, or what do they say? Instigating insurrection, whatever. The president didn't tell anyone. The selectively edited part, though, they keep talking incited an insurrection. But in order to do that, you'd have to go through all his words. They only seem to use selective words. Every one of these Democrats who spoke yesterday, we're talking about the, fight for your, whatever he said, fight like hell, like for your rights to have a fair election. whether or not you agree that the election had shenanigans or not, fight for your rights. You got to fight for your right. Did the Beastie Boys, when they wrote the song Fight for Your Right to Party, did they mean to go out and physically fight people? No. Duh. And if you and so all these Democrats saying that was, and listen, if you're only going to listen to part of the speech or reference one sentence in a speech without listening to the whole speech, well, then you're being what you accuse Project Veritas of doing. FTG, you're full of shit. I'm just saying, you just are, because that don't make no damn sense. And also that even what happened was not an insurrection. It's not an insurrection. I mourn for the people who died in that thing. You know, granted, the one was the woman who, you know, we'll find out whether or not what happens with that. But, you know, I don't mean to be callous by saying the play stupid game, win stupid prizes. But there is a danger if you do something like that. If this is a real revolution, yes, you might get killed in a revolution. But this wasn't a revolution. This was just people trying to, I don't know. These were LARPing revolutionists. Anyway, but and the officer died, and we still don't know how that officer died. Now there are pictures of supposedly some officer being attacked by a fire extinguisher, but we don't know if that's the officer who died. That's the other thing, because early reports on the first officer who died, he had a stroke in the middle of all of this. Now, could it be a stroke that was, brought on by exertion, expressed during this whole nasty riot or whatever, people pushing around stuff? Possibly, but we don't know. They haven't talked about what he died from, and they said, and the family told the media that it was due to some medical problem. So we don't know if that guy with the fire extinguisher hit him in the head with that fire extinguisher. We don't know if that was the same officer. Just because you have pictures of some guys being attacked with a fire extinguisher, we don't know if it's the same officer, because they haven't told us yet. The other people who died, the three other people who were at the protest, not necessarily in the Capitol building, died of medical problems. The other officer died, suicide, a full day after the fact, or a full couple days after the fact. He just happened to be a Capitol officer who committed suicide, which we'd never want to see. God, I feel for his family. But it's just like, but you know what? This insurrection where 5 people died was another one of the mantras yesterday. What did they die from? Did they die because of this? Or they died during this? It's kind of like, did someone die of COVID-19 or did they die with COVID-19? You know, it's kind of the same principle. So anyway, thank you. I got a bunch of donations I got to get to here. Thank you so much. First, we got Attack Alpaca with the 5 spot, and congrats on 2 years. Great content. I've probably only been listening for about one of those years, but having your show on in the background has helped me get through my work days. Well, I greatly appreciate you, and I appreciate, and thank you so much for the donation. And by the way, Attack Alpaca,
you are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
All right. And also, let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Well, I didn't know that happens when you do this. Well, anyway. Also, thank you, Tall Person, who said YouTube didn't notify me of your stream. Twitter did. Happy International Kite Day. Now, look, yes, happy International Kite Day, but I bet, is this the time too, or is it still winter in Japan? They have the Kite Festival right now? I didn't know it was International Kite Day, but I the reason I laughed is because for some reason, Lady Boomer and I were sitting around the other night, and just, she was trying to pick out movies to watch, and she chose, for some of you might know about this movie, some of you might not, she chose Porky's. Yes, the 1980s, raunchy teen flick Porky's. And now I laugh because the one guy kept calling the one guy in the show, he was supposed to be this bigoted kid. He had his bigoted father who was always beating him up, and he kept calling the Jewish kid a kite. And then in one scene he's saying, I think we need to go fly a kite. I got to do this and get a kite. And the Jewish guy, tells him, it's not kite, you moron. It's kike. And you're too stupid to even be a bigot. So then they end up fighting, and the Jewish kid kicks his ass, and then the dad beats him up for kicking his ass or whatever. But there are a couple of the scenes I'd forgotten about in that movie. First of all, when they said they called the one woman the gym teacher Lassie, and the other guy, and they're up in the laundry or whatever, and she's just hilarious watching that part. And by the way, if you don't remember the movie, whoever the woman that is that plays Samantha in Sex and the City, that's the same woman. Kim, what's her name? Kim something. That's the same woman who played the gym teacher in Porky's. We just like, that's she's in Sex and the City, but she was really young then. And then what was the other scene? Oh, when Ballbricker is trying to convince the principal to have a lineup because of the incident in the girls' showers, where she's trying to explain that she would be able to identify that penis because there was a mole on it, and she wanted to have a lineup, and the principal's trying so hard just to concentrate on her while the two other gym teachers are laughing in the background, and then he just busts out laughing. Kim Cattrall, yes, that's her. So very funny. That was that scene of him trying not to laugh, and then all of a sudden he busts out laughing is freaking hilarious. Anyway, that's a classic raunchy movie that was typical of the early 80s. Teen trying to get the one guy to lose his virginity flick. Anyway, I'm sorry, I need to keep going on these. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off on International Kite Day. Also, thank you. This is Kyle with the $5 for YouTube Super Chat, who says, hello, chat people in PDawg. Happy 2-year anniversary. I'd send this on Streamlabs, but it's been acting weird. Oh, really? Like, is acting weird as in won't shift over to PayPal? Because you can't. Look, well, PayPal, you can also use the just a direct credit card on Streamlabs. I might turn off PayPal anyway. But anyway, and also thank you, Maddie, for 5 spot on through Streamlabs, who said, this show is sponsored by the Ministry of Truth, who brings you the collective thinking vaccine for when you need to repeat the same talking points as your benevolent overlords. Get your shot and think the right things today. Thank you. That's a new ad, a new sponsor. Thank you, our new sponsor, the Ministry of Truth. All right, let's say good morning to everybody, because I'm already going off on tangents. First in the chat today was Richo, who gets the bell, and thank you for being here. It's very early in the morning for Richo, so I do appreciate you watching the show. Also, good morning to Gunfox61, my faithful and good friend, Discord administrator. Good morning also, Becca Farley. Thank you for tweeting out the show earlier. Good morning to Robert Lapine, who I made laugh, and he's still laughing about my my little tagline yesterday. We'll talk about that later. Also, Kyra Alexander, what's up? Anyone else see all the troops in D.C.? Yeah, you know what? The Democrats are declaring war, I believe, on us. Anyway, also good morning to Tyler F. Let's see, Jesse Leon. I'm scrolling to Rydeos. How you doing? Mike Savage, Blarg, Okie Native, and yes, you're getting the steam right now. Look, because I didn't realize in my countdown, the standby for the show, that I have a 10-minute countdown, and the bottom it says Steam starts in however many minutes that's on the clock. And you know what? You know what, Okie Native? It's because I bring the heat, brother. I bring the heat. Anyway, good morning, sir. How you doing, Okie Native? Also, Selected Boys in the house.
Boy.
Cynical Lindsay, how you doing? Maddie and Ronan are in the back. Ronan, I saw you down there in the chat, too. Also, good morning to Uncle Stepdad. Who will the media go after now that they don't have President Trump? We the people, the internet purge is just the preamble. Yeah, that's a great question. You know what? Another question is, there are a lot of people, I mean a lot of people, who have built their brand either, by the way, for whatever reason, is it Maddie's now? Well, Maddie.
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
Okay, there are a lot of people who have absolutely relied on President Trump to build their brand. And their brand, I shouldn't say build their brand, because their brand has been President Trump. And I'm not just talking about the MAGA people, although there's a lot of MAGA people who their whole brand is Donald J. Trump. I support Donald J. Trump. MAGA, 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 MAGA hat, MAGA shirt. I write MAGA rap music. Now, there's also a very large number of people who have built their brand on being anti-Trump. And I would say a lot of those people, for example, there's a whole, probably 50 to 100 people who spend all their time on Twitter, and they were always waiting for Donald Trump to tweet, and then they would tweet a reply to him. There was almost a fight to see who could reply to Donald Trump first on Twitter. And so you got the people like the Krasensteins or that Brooklyn Dad Defiant guy. They built their entire brand on being anti-Trump. And I posed this question the other day on Twitter where I thought, I wonder what's going to happen to all these people who rely on Donald Trump and his Twitter account, or just Donald Trump in general, to be relevant. Because that's the only reason they're relevant. In fact, I laughed because Brian and, what's this? I don't know. Brian Krastina's uglier twin brother. I think it's Ed. They absolutely built their entire following of almost 1 million people just because they would be on the computer all day waiting for Trump to tweet, and they'd be the first ones to reply to him almost all the time, either them or the Brooklyn Dad Defiant guy. And even after they got kicked off of Twitter, then it was Brian Krassenstein or his uglier twin brother Ed tweeting under the name of one of their wives' Twitter's accounts. So I mean, and so I laughed my ass off the day Donald Trump got kicked off of Twitter, and these two posted under Mrs. Krassenstein, one of their wives' accounts, celebrating, opening champagne to the fact that Donald Trump got kicked off of Twitter. I was thinking to myself, why in God's name would these guys be celebrating that? Because their only relevance was the fact that they replied to Donald Trump all the time. Otherwise, they're just multi-level marketing hack, swindler, con artists. Not even multi-level. They got. I don't know if you know this, but in their prior life, they got arrested and convicted of doing a Ponzi scheme, and both did some time, or big fines or something. I don't know if they ever did time for it, but they racked up like a lot of fines for this Ponzi scheme that they used to run. Anyway, I've got to catch up here. Hello, Willett Forge. Also, good morning, sir. Katie did skate. What's up? Cultus 4. Let's see. Mike said Attack Alpaca, who just did the nice. Thank you for the donation this morning. Also, let's see. Jonathan. I almost said Jonas Pedersen. It's Jonathan Peterson. Got to get those names right. Hi, hello to you too, sir. Also, good morning to Saint Fugi, Chadwick Dupree. I always say Chadwick Dupree. I wouldn't bother you when I say Chadwick Dupree. Chadwick. It's damn it Chadwick in the chat. I always see that. I see your avatar and I always want to say your name how you used to say on there. Cynical Lindsay, what's happening? Who else is here? Catching up. Jonas Pedersen is here. Good morning, sir. Also, Annal in. Am I getting caught up here? There's a lot of people here. Holy smokes. TC Ball, what's happening? I think I got to read. Advocatus Diabli, good morning, sir. Also, let's see. Oh, I said sir. I don't know if you're a male or female. I should never assume. But anyway, I think am I got everybody? There's a whole lot of people here, man. And Atheist Icon, what's up? And Sydney Bishop, hello, my friend. Welcome back. And I think I got just about everybody. Tall person, what's happening? And Rod Lyons in the house. Nice to see you. Ronan Wolf, who I already said hi to. Him and Maddie. Where are you? Are you guys in North Dakota right now, Rhoda? Just out of curiosity. Oh, you get a day off with pay. Who? Volunteering to make sure I don't take over the world. I wouldn't be sad if you took over the world, Ronan, I got to tell you. And I might catch it up here. Holy shit. Infamous One's here. I guess I've been just babbling away and don't know here. Sapphire Dragon, Hypnagogic Monk. And I think that's it. RVA Dar, welcome back. I haven't seen you for a while. Nice to have you. MC's in the house.
Hammer time.
And Adam Richard, I did say Sapphire Dragon. Okay, I'm caught up. Holy smokes. There's a whole bunch of you here. I am happy to see you. Also, thank you to Rydeos with the 10 spot. Thank you so much through Streamlabs, who says the Joint Chiefs of Staff did send out a memo reminding U.S. military members that we are to protect and defend the Constitution on the U.S. from enemies, foreign and domestic. Found that interesting. Yeah, they're treating they're treating a whole bunch of people as enemies, and it's interesting because look, I gotta be honest with you. Hello, Mr. Rittenhouse units in the house. How you doing? Look, some of those assholes who breached the Capitol, I just want to prosecute it. But it's not like it's the first time the Capitol's been breached. Now they say, oh, this is the first time since the War of 1812 that the Capitol's gotten breached. Well, that's bullshit. Do they not remember in 2018 when the Capitol Rotunda was taken over and who was it? Chuck Grassley's office was occupied for 24 hours? Did they not remember that? Do they not remember people attacking the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court building during the Kavanaugh hearings? They tried to break down the doors of the Supreme Court. Do they not remember that? Do they not remember when the Black Lives Matter protest had gone on for 3 days in Washington, D.C., and they tried to get into the White House and breached a gate that was actually going into the Treasury Department that's right next door to the White House, and they had the Secret Service, as a precaution, to remove the president from the White House? Did they not remember any of that? And there's countless more examples. Do they not remember that the Congress building, the same place that these people breached during this thing, was bombed in an attempt to kill Republican lawmakers in 1983, and that the woman who bombed the Capitol building got a pardon from President Clinton via request from none other than Judiciary Chairman now Gerald Nadler? Do they not remember any of this other stuff? And I wouldn't say necessary. Are those all examples of sedition, or was it a protest that went wrong, where some assholes got a little farther than they should have? And who incited those people? Good morning, Sleazy. How you doing? That was different. Yeah, exactly. By the way, welcome, Sleazy. By the way, if you are not subscribe to my channel, hit the subscribe button, click the little bell, because I'm probably not going to play my commercial day like I haven't for the last couple of days because I've had too much to talk about. Hello, funky animal. The Earl of Funkdom is in the house. All right, so obviously, oh, speaking of which, I even have, look at this right here. Looky here. I have this article right here. New York Times. As protests and violence spill over. Oh, Trump shrinks back. Did they say anything about how all these Congress critters were cowering in the corners during this? Remember when they tried to breach the White House and they said, oh, Trump's hiding in his bunker. There were a lot of people hiding the other day. Not that, and I don't endorse it whatsoever, but do you remember? Do you remember? Do you remember the 26th night of September? Hello, Jaeger Pony. How you doing? Good morning. Someone else popped in that I hadn't seen yet. Oh, Maniac Man. What's up? Maniac Man. Now, remember I was talking about how this being the actual 2-year anniversary, even though we're going to celebrate it a week from Saturday, people who were here like really early in this, like in the second month, Maniac Man was one of those people. Maniac Man's been with us on the Morning Night Live. At least, I think you joined, started watching about the second month. I just really appreciate a lot of you people who've been here for a long time. Johnny Hellcat and Hate Camel and Sarah and Cynical Lindsay's been here a very long time. There's a bunch of you who've been here for just forever. And C. Thomas used to was the third viewer and used to be here quite a bit, but his whole work thing has changed. So thank you, Gunfox61, for the donation through Streamlabs. And Gunfox,
You are the new Streamlabs superstar donor
oh no,
of the
wait,
day.
I'm sorry, I messed up. Turideos.
You are the new Streamlabs superstar donor of the day.
But Gunfox, thank you for 556, a fantastic caliber if you're setting up a new setup for your AR. I'm not going to say the entire name because I might get yeeted for talking about weapons of war. I don't know. Gunfox, thank you. It says, oh, Marty, do not speak of groups on the left. They are just so lovable. They are just, lovable, peaceful protesters. If you speak of such things, the thought police will come for you. Yeah, I got to be very, very, very careful. But anyway, so yeah, I remember all that stuff. It's funny, nobody else in the media can seem to remember that stuff. I also, what's pissing me off about this whole thing is, so for example, let's see, Donald Trump, let's see if I can find it real quick. I know I have it here. So Donald Trump puts out a statement. It's in my bookmarks here. Oh, more notifications. By the way, thank you, Mr. Scott, Tyler F, Willett Forge, Jedi Ghost Bear, which hello if you're watching, I haven't seen your name there. Oh my gosh, a whole bunch of people. Plexi and Garbage, although that's retweeting my 2-year anniversary there. Also, who's this? This is Swirl Blue, Maddie, Becca Fairley, Cynical Lindsay, all the people who've been tweeting out the show. Please share the stream. You can do it through the stream, the arrow down there or up there if you're on mobile, and share it out. See if we can get some more new people in here. Not that I don't love all of you who are the regulars, but you know what I'm saying. It's always fun to have more people show up. Especially, every once in a while, I appreciate a troll now and then too. And by the way, if you're one of my most of my wrench people already know this, but I don't like slapping away trolls. I love trolls, so don't ever yeet the trolls unless they're being super abusive. But otherwise, good morning, Space Trucker. Oh, I haven't seen you for a while too. Welcome back. So, what was I bookmark? Oh, the Donald Trump's Donald Trump made a statement. Okay. Talking about it. Well, here's a statement. It's 5 minutes long. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but he made this statement yesterday that he broadcast, and I laughed because I think it was Jake Tapper, who's whatever. He's just turned into this. He used to be a journalist. I don't know what he calls himself now. He's just basically a what would you call it? A sycophant? No, not a sycophant. He's just a cheerleader for his team, and he's against the other team now. And it's just that's all he is now. He's not a journalist anymore. he used to be fairly neutral. Now he comes from strictly one angle. And he said something to the effect, oh, it's about time Trump said something. He didn't do anything when the thing was going on. He didn't say anything afterward. Oh, my God. You know, it's kind of like, I'm surprised that, well, he hasn't taken any interviews yet, but I wouldn't be surprised that the first question in a Trump interview, if he does another interview with any of the media, is, President Trump, do you denounce white supremacy? I've done it 50 times in the last 2 years, you know? And, but same with this. So Jake Tapper's like, well, it's about time you said something about the violence. What? During the event, Donald Trump was tweeting about go home. I realize you're upset with, blah, 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 but go home, no violence. During the so-called insurrection. And, there's the other rumor that came out that some of these representatives were talking about on the Democrat side yesterday when they were doing this hearing. They kept saying that these people were armed insurrectionists. Armed with what? Now, some of them had flagpoles who were carrying flags. There were no armed insurrectionists. The only gunshot fired was one of the Capitol Police or Secret Service people or whatever that guy was. So they weren't armed. If this was an insurrection, do you think that more people would have crashed the building? There were thousands of people. Do you think they could not have gone through the entire halls of Congress and overwhelmed those offices? There were tens of thousands of people there. A few hundred got in the building and mostly took selfies and shit. They ended up not really breaching anywhere that was important. Not that the whole building's not important, but I'm sorry. But anyway, the fact that Donald Trump, not only during that, zip tie guys. Yeah, there was the zip tie guy. I don't know. Did they ever figure out? They've arrested that guy, by the way. They figured out who it was. There were some knuckleheads who had planned some stuff. Now they're finding out too that some of the people who breached that building had planned this before this Donald Trump speech. And again, the building was breached before Donald Trump was done speaking. So the idea that he would have, we didn't do anything during it. Well, he may not have known until he got back to the White House that this was going on. For all I know. Good morning, Mood Base Radio. And so you can't react to something you don't know that's going on. If it's going on in the middle of your speech, you probably don't know what's going on. And then the other thing, remember when Donald Trump traveled to Alamo, Texas, not the Alamo in San Antonio, but the city of Alamo, Texas, because he wanted to go thank the people in the border patrol and all those people, and talking about the wall that was they got the 450th mile of the wall completed, which is one of the things he wanted to do by the end of the year. During that address, he also denounced the violence that happened at the Capitol. But these people are saying, oh no, he didn't say anything till January 13th about any of the violence. There's a word for that's a common reply to someone who might be saying that. Let me think of that. It's yeah, that was kind of it. Or why the fuck you lying? Yeah, that's it. Or
you're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Or bullshit. He did. But it's like I said, all these people keep asking, why do you the president refused to denounce white supremacy? Except for the 40 times that you asked him about it before. Just saying. I'm just saying. So, a true insurrection. Thank you, Ronan. Just reading a true insurrection would be with armed majority. Considering many Trump supporters are veterans, DC police would be taken out in 5 minutes, and Congress would be at gunpoint. Yeah. The other one. Yes, exactly. And the other thing, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez keeps talking about how half of Congress almost died. Died from what? Leg cramps from being hiding under the chairs or something? She literally said that. She's been saying that in interviews. Many of us almost died. Anyway, on to the articles today. Doubling down on impeachment sanity. This is from Front Page Magazine. Matthew Vadum, I don't know. With the mere days before a new president takes office, leftist Democrats and useful idiot Republicans voted Wednesday to impeach President Donald John Trump on false grounds for a second time. Now that's an editorial opinion, but I concur. Here's the thing. I want to see because the articles of impeachment is one page and there's only one charge. And that charge is incitement to insurrection, which, like I said, there's an awful lot of lawyers in Congress who should know there are very clear precedents set by the United States Supreme Court, unanimous on incitement cases, that it has to be explicit. And so what I would be interested in seeing, I would love them. I want them to charge Donald Trump with that criminally when he gets out of office and see how far that goes. I don't care, because any judge who would hear that case would probably throw it out. Just saying. Hello. Did I see someone new here? No, I didn't. Troops behind her shot her and then pretended to be surprised. It wasn't the guys in the chamber. It was the guys who encouraged her up the stairs and were there with her. Humble Clay, by the way, good morning. Okay, you're having a conversation there. So the vote to impeach on January 13th was 232 to 197. 10 Republican lawmakers voted to betray their own party and impeach President Trump. Okay, now let me just say something here. I don't like the idea, even though I disagree with these 10 lawmakers, I don't know that that's betraying their own party. If there's something you're voting on in the House of Representatives and you have your own valid reasons to vote that way, I don't like your team, my team. I think they voted incorrectly to impeach President Trump, because especially based on the article that they wrote into the article of impeachment, the one article, incitement to insurrection, that factually did not happen. But anyway, the 10 Republicans are Adam Kinzinger of Illinois, Liz Cheney, Wyoming. Somebody laughed. I laughed so hard. Somebody this morning suggested, you know who should primary Lynn Cheney? Kanye West. Because Kanye West just bought a ton of property out in Wyoming. That would be fucking hilarious. I would just love that. That would be hilarious. after the media and left spin all this, I now believe it is of paramount that we teach kids the importance of hypocrisy and reinstall the sense of shame for being hypocritical. Oh, I agree. Also, John Katko of New York, Fred Upton of Michigan, Jamie Herrera Butler of Washington, Dan Newhouse of Washington, Peter Meyer of Michigan, Anthony Gonzalez of Ohio, Tom Rice of South Carolina, and David Valladio of California. The reason why they did this is clear, according to this editorial. You can decide if you agree with this or not. Again, these are not my words. Despite everything that happened, Trump's voters are standing by him. This makes him a threat, not to the Republic, as the left claims, but to the deep state globalist socialist communist alliance that in a few days will control both the executive and legislative branches of the federal government. They want Trump out of the picture so things can return to so-called normal. Yes, the swamp rats back in control. Even if they can't get the impeachment trial underway in the Senate before Trump leaves office at noon January 20th, they want the Senate to convict the president and bar him from seeking office again. Some legal scholars, though, notably not Alan Dershowitz, say a president leaving office does not deprive the Senate of jurisdiction to hear the case. As much as it pained the often manic Frank Luntz, the Trump-hating pollster, to admit, despite their criticism of his conduct since November 3rd and last week, 91% of Trump voters say they'd still vote for him. And if another presidential election were held today, 73% of Trump voters say the election system is rigged, even after being reminded that Trump and his allies lost more than 60 cases in a court challenging election results, a glum Luntz wrote in a January 11th tweet. Of course, yeah, you mean the cases that they didn't hear? The cases that they said they didn't have standing? You mean those cases? Although there were a couple cases early on where they didn't present any evidence other than witnesses, but still, the courts threw them out because there's still a lot of they didn't have a lot of the evidence yet because they weren't able to audit any of these vote tallies. But whatever. Hello, Mr. No, how you doing? I am doing fine, by the way. Thank you. And Renee Mayette, what's up? Okay. I said hi to you early, didn't I? Maybe I did. I get confused. Anyway, so you can read the rest of this. But they did. It was largely a political party line vote for impeachment. Now, here's the article that I really want to touch on today: incitement, insurrection, impeachment, imperiousness, and idiocy. I like the subtitle of this one, though. Nancy Pelosi's renewal of her Captain Ahab-style attempts to purge the White House of Donald Trump hit a new low. At some point in the next couple days, it's a decent bet that abject morons and calculating swamp rats populating the House of Representatives, publicly shaken to their cores by the fact that a rabble of unwashed Americans could have burst into their place of business and roughed up the joint a little, will attempt to impeach or remove the lame duck president less than 10 days from his final ride on Marine One for the high crime of giving a speech at a political rally. Now, they've already done that. Obviously, this was before the vote yesterday. This is not to make light of the death of two Capitol Police officers, one who was injured as he fought with some of the more kinetic-minded of the rioters and succumbed to the injuries he sustained some hours later, not confirmed, and another who committed suicide shortly after the fracas on January 6th, ostensibly as an effect of the events therein. Nor is it to make light of the death of one of the rioters, a woman named Ashley Babbitt, who was shot in the neck by a policeman inside the Capitol as she attempted to climb through a broken window and enter the corridor in the Senate chamber. It was undoubtedly a riot. There was unmistakably violence. And arguably, it was a bad moment for America. But the reaction to the debacle of January 6th, which this space has opined was in function, if not in design, a trap that President Trump and his supporter fell into, has, like virtually everything else taking place in American politics over the past year or two, poured kerosene on the fire of suspicion that nothing is as it seems. Evidence indicates that the Democrats' leadership is a class of goons, less capable or interested in a responsible governance than they are in stupid political games. Those games never end. It's very difficult not to perceive everything they do, including this, as furthering them. Yes, they're power-hungry fuckwads. Sorry, that was my little aside there, just FYI. That's not what's written here. Anyway, Nancy Pelosi spent the last year cheering on rioters who were a whole lot more destructive and threatening to good public order than the mostly peaceful crowd descending on the Capitol last Wednesday. People will do what they do, she said in response to the mobs vandalizing and destroying public art over the summer. She fired off an angry letter to Trump complaining about militarization of security forces arrayed against rioters in Washington, getting especially incensed that some of those law enforcement officials deployed to stop Antifa from doing things like, for example, torching churches near the White House were from unidentified agencies of the executive branch. Oh, how that thought did not age well now that there are troops inside the Capitol building and all around the Capitol building. Kind of looks like how the Washington Monument was being protected after 3 days of rioting in Washington. Amazing that you might think about having to do that. Oh, but is that racist this time? That's racist! Anyway, and her riot-friendly rhetoric goes way back. I don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be when people realize that this is a policy they defend, she said in 2018, when the legacy corporate media ginned up the fake news story about Trump putting illegal alien kids in cages. By the fall, when a YouTuber and a homeless advocate tested Pelosi's support for societal breakdown by delivering a smelly bit of biomass to her driveway, she had finally recovered her sense of law and order and finally, at long last, denounced political violence. Good morning to my friend. You're a ridiculous lunatic. Yes, that is a name, not me slamming you're a ridiculous lunatic. And now she's not only appalled at rioting, she's going to get her revenge. You can tell how much she hates Trump. As Pelosi's Silicon Valley pals were busy purging conservative speech from the internet, she was busy purging the Capitol Police upper management. She launched in an unhinged and ridiculous rant playing the race card against the rioters, declaring that, quote, it had been an epiphany for the world to see that there are people in this country led by this president for the moment who have chosen their whiteness over democracy, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. And then she launched her second impeachment of the president, accusing Trump of inciting the riot. A couple things that are true and undeniable about this. In any functional republic, thanks in large part to Nancy Pelosi, this is only arguably one. Whoops, what happened there? Only arguably one of those at this point. Either would put paid to the notion that in any legal sense, Trump is guilty of inciting a riot at the Capitol last Wednesday. First, is that what Donald Trump said? Or first, is that Donald Trump said nothing whatsoever to the crowd of people gathered on the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue that could be reasonably interpreted as directing the crowd to storm the Capitol. Here is what he said, quote, after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong, and we have to come to demand that Congress do the right thing and only count the electors who have been lawfully slated. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Now, a little later in the speech, he said, quote, the best is yet to come. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I love Pennsylvania Avenue. And we're going to go to the, he talks in multiple repeats. But anyway, and we're going to the Capitol, and we're going to try to give the Democrats are hopeless. They never vote for anything, not even one vote. But we're going to try to give our Republicans, the weak ones, because the strong ones don't need any of our help. We're going to try to give them the kind of pride and boldness that they need to take back our country. So let's walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. Even the leftist propaganda fact-checking site Snopes couldn't bring itself to fully support the crackpot interpretations of the above comments as an incitement to violence. Oh, Snopes, I just give Snopes a hand. Trump repeated his contention that the 2020 election was stolen, which has a lot more concrete factual basis that, I'm not allowed to say that. Well, I'm reading someone else's words. YouTube, I'm just reading what they're saying here. Which has a lot more concrete factual basis than Democrats' contention that across the country, white police officers seeking out black men to assassinate in city streets. The later incident resulted in billions of dollars of property damage to innocent American business owners and also resulted in a real life insurrection in downtown Seattle and in other places, in which a group of Antifa troglodytes declared themselves autonomous from the United States government and that city and state. When word came back down the street that the situation at the Capitol turned violent, Trump called for peace. He didn't style it as a summer of love, like Seattle's Touched by the Angels Mayor Jenny Durkin did when her ideological pals torched her city for weeks on end. The second problem is that people had already broken into the Capitol before Trump finished his speech, a 45-minute walk away. Pipe bombs found at the RNC and DNC headquarters were laid before he had even begun speaking. That isn't a timeline fitting the fake news narrative that rioters were a bunch of drones and Trumpers' minions marching in lockstep to his spoken word. Now, last week, the space said Trump didn't do himself any favors telling the crowd to demonstrate at the Capitol because they were already there. They didn't need him to tell them anything because they're Americans with their own opinions and they're exceptionally pissed off at what they think was a stolen election. More than 2 in 5 people in this country and more than 2 in 3 Republicans agree with Trump that it was. I'm not going to say those words verbatim again, but by Nancy Pelosi's party. And remember, nobody in the Democratic Party, at least of all Nancy Pelosi, gave a crap, he has a different word, but about the violent riots and bona fide insurrections in Seattle and Portland last year, at least until they got worried those riots would be a political detriment to their electoral prospects. It's almost over. And remember, the Antifa BLM riots were incited by the promotion of a narrative by the Democratic Party, including kente cloth-wearing Nancy Pelosi, that the Minneapolis Police Department had murdered St. George, a man who had taken a fatal dose of fentanyl just before resisting arrest for counterfeiting. Now, an Antifa BLM imitation, mostly peaceful protest lands in the U.S. Capitol, and it's insurrection, for which a president, barely more than a week from being out of office, has to be impeached and removed? Shut the F up, Nancy. Really. And, oh, by the way, FTG, Nancy Pelosi. It is FTG Thursday. Throw one in there for me. And to Liz Cheney and the other Republican swamp things on Capitol Hill who delusionally see this as an opportunity to wrest control of the GOP for the populist conservative movement, good luck! Oh, I'm sorry, that's not what it says. That has attached itself to Trump specifically as a rejection of their moribund, out-of-date failure theater style. There's a reason they call you the stupid party. Good luck in the 2022 primaries, you fucking clowns. Again, I embellished there. But yeah, this impeachment's going nowhere. And hey, look, there's another paragraph, but I'm not going to read it. So now this is interesting from Legal Insurrection, basically talks about legal matters. And I'm not sure if this is 100% correct or not, but let's try it. FTC. I know what that C stands for, Lindsay. Okay. Impeachment 2.0. This is an interesting legal question. They say that the Senate cannot convict Trump after he leaves office because, look, the purpose of impeachment is to remove someone from office. You can't really remove someone from office who's already gone, can you? How? I don't know. Well, here's the Legal Insurrection opinion. At best, supporters of post-departure Senate impeachment conviction could say there's an argument for it, but it's complicated. Opponents merely need to point to the words of the Constitution. The U.S. House voted today to impeach President Trump. It's a done deal because Democrats have a majority and probably will get about 20 Republicans to join them. Well, it ended up only being 10. Then it eventually heads to the Senate for trial, where Mitch McConnell has said the earliest a trial could be held under Senate rules, unless there's unanimous consent to waive them, which will not happen, is an hour after Biden takes office on January 20. I have seen discussion that McConnell and Schumer could agree to an emergency session, but that would mean a quick trial in a matter of days. Not sure how viable an option that is. Reports indicate McConnell's not going to agree to that bullshit anyway. Democrats are suggesting that the Senate could hold a trial even after Trump leaves office, perhaps as much as months later, depending on what timing Biden thought benefited his legislative agenda. The purpose would not be to remove Trump. He'd already be gone, but to preclude him from running again as part of the punishment. Yeah, they want to punish the entire Trump family, anyone who works with him. In fact, I just saw an article on some guy who got hired from someplace in North Carolina. He moved everything down there, and somebody found out that he had once worked for a Trump campaign, and they fired him on the spot. He's in a little bit of a legal battle with them. I don't know if I mentioned that yesterday or not, but anyway, it's just bullshit. So Democrats are suggesting, okay, but to preclude him from running again as part of the punishment, they might seek to strip away his lifetime salary and security stipend. Now, that's fascinating because he hasn't been taking the salary while he's in office. But the security detail, the Secret Service, I don't know if they could, even if they impeach him, I don't know that they can legally get rid of that too. I just don't know. And why they would, well, just to be petulant bitches, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, the question is, can the Senate hold an impeachment trial and convict a president after the president has already left office? I think the plain wording of the Constitution says such post-departure impeachment is not permitted, but there's a split of opinion. Here, Article 2, Section 4 provides, quote, the president, vice president, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, other high crimes and misdemeanors. Of course, there's no crime in this one either. Just saying. So if the premise of impeachment is that it is against someone who is the president, not someone who once was the president, also the purpose is removal, which cannot happen if somebody has already left office. Whoever said something, who was it? Would be like evicting somebody that turned in the keys and vacated the property 2 months ago. Exactly. Article 1, Section 2, Section 7 provides all the remedies available in the judgment after Senate trial. Quote, judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to removal from office and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. But the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to the law. I want them to try and indict him for this, because then they're going to be laughed out of court. That's just me. So there are remedies beyond removal, but that presumes a proper conviction. It is those other remedies that Democrats and some Republicans want more than anything. But there's nothing in the language of the Constitution that suggests that the post-conviction remedies expand the time scope of impeachment trial and conviction. Now, former federal appeals judge J. Michael Luddy writes in the Washington Post, it appears that even if the House of Representatives impeaches President Trump this week, the Senate trial on the impeachment will not begin until after Trump has left office and President-elect Biden has become president on January 20th. That Senate trial would be unconstitutional. The Constitution itself answers this question clearly. No, he cannot be. Once Trump's term ends on January 20th, Congress loses its constitutional authority to continue impeachment proceedings against him, even if the House has already approved articles of impeachment. Therefore, if the House of Representatives were to impeach the president before he leaves office, the Senate could not thereafter convict the former president and disqualify him under the Constitution from future public office. Now, there's other, Dershowitz also said the same thing. There's some more legal mumbo jumbo, but there's a whole bunch of it, so I'm going to let you read that on yourself. It will be in the tabs after the show because I need to move on. Now, this guy, why I support impeaching President Trump again. Now, his reason is a little different than most. And you know what? Something to say, too. If they could do that to President Trump, what stops them from impeaching George Washington or Thomas Jefferson or any of the former presidents who owned slaves? Couldn't they do that too? Just curious if that's, if they got a reason. Anyway, this guy wants to impeach Trump or supports the impeachment, not removing from office, because it will smoke out the Senate rhinos, separating them from the courageous. If I could only have one last wish for the final week of President Trump's first term in office, it would be this. I wish for 10 wishes. And then my first wish would be, Speaker Pelosi, I know we have not always seen eye to eye, but please overlook our past disagreements and just grant me this. Please go forward at lightning speed with impeaching President Trump. Let me just give you, let's see, I'll go through the reasons and then, there's a lot of reasons. Let me just give you I'll just give you the first couple reasons. You can read the rest yourself. Any impeachment that goes from introducing the bills of impeachment to passing the full House in less than 1 week, which is all the time she has before the president leaves D.C., will be remembered throughout history as a biased, Stalin show trial. It will demonstrate how blindly unjust the House of Representatives gone wild. Ew! Didn't we go through this a couple days ago? I don't want the House of Representatives gone wild, if you know what I mean. Those of you old enough to remember. Ew. Unjust the House of Representatives was in its time. Number two, such an impeachment will drive the final nail in the coffin for proving that last year's impeachment likewise was stuff and nonsense, unjust and unethical, driven by blind political ambition and cynicism, unattached to justice. Right? Number three, such an impeachment will continue and give revitalized life to a revivifying process that began with the Tea Party smoking out the few remaining rhinos whom faithful Republicans still have not replaced. Lisa Murkowski, Ben Sass, who's the other one? Romney, you know what I mean. Since Trump impeachment now is an annual American social event like Georgia's Vidalia Onion Festival, and reminiscent of the former annual Great Steamboat Race on the Ohio River between Cincinnati's Delta Queen and the Belle of Louisville, we now all know that impeachment conviction requires 2/3 of the Senate. The Democrats have 50 and the Republicans have 50. For now, let's assume that Joe Manchin of West Virginia sticks with party and votes to convict. We will return to Joe in item 14, which I'm not going to read now. Therefore, assuming Democrats enter with 50 votes to convict, they need to secure 17 more Republican votes. And then he goes through a bunch of the rhinos, so to speak, that would vote to impeach President Trump, which is quite a list here. But he says, do not look to Alabama, Mississippi, or Louisiana for those 12, because they need 12 more to convict after the ones he names as rhinos. Now take a closer look at states A through I. Would Tom Cotton, another extraordinarily wonderful Tea Party era fine, feel his conscience drives him to guilty? I don't think so. Cotton, like Ben Sass, is a Tea Party era Republican senator with a deep conscience and a pure soul. But while Sass likes being oppositional and standing alone like Mr. Smith, Senator Cotton is more mature and sophisticated, yada, yada, yada. And he just goes through a bunch of the ones that he goes through the list and just tells you which ones could be. So if you want to check that out, that'll be in the tabs too. Moving on. Here, we're just going to play this. I know it's a Breitbart article, and I know my son reminded me that Breitbart is a biased source, and I recognize that. I was a fan of Breitbart when Andrew Breitbart was alive, and I still like a few of the writers that are still there from that era. Breitbart tends to be hyperbolic, and the way my son described it, Dad, they're kind of like the Young Turks of the right. I was like, well, I don't know, Breitbart, maybe not that bad, but I just know that they're a biased source, and I'm fine with that. I use a lot of biased sources here. All right, let's just listen to Matt Getz, because it's well, you'll see when you see it.
The speaker said to us just moments ago, words matter. But apparently those words don't matter when they're uttered by Democrats. When the gentlelady from Massachusetts calls for unrest in the streets. When the gentlelady from California brazenly brags that she called for people to get in the faces of those who serve and support the president. I denounce political violence from all ends of the spectrum, but make no mistake, the left in America has incited far more political violence than the right. For months, our cities burned, police stations burned, our businesses were shattered, and they said nothing. Or they cheerled for it, and they fundraised for it, and they allowed it to happen in the greatest country in the world. Now, some have cited the metaphor that the president lit the flame. Well, they lit actual flames, actual fires, and we
Time
put them out.
expired. There will be order in the House.
I yield back.
Oh.
The gentleman from Ohio, do you wish...
They sound a little upset about that. I can't understand why they're so upset that he called them out. Now, several of the Republicans who spoke did that also. Here's Jim. Jim Jordan. Here's Jim Jordan. Kind of. We'll watch his too. I'm not going to watch a bunch of these. And obviously, Getz and Jordan are, big time supporters of the president, and so, but this is how they.
Thank the gentleman for yielding, Mr. Speaker. In his opening remarks, the Democrat chair of the Rules Committee said that Republicans last week voted to overturn the results of an election. Guess who the first objector was on January 6, 2017? First objector, the Democrat chair of the Rules Committee. And guess which state he objected to? Alabama. The very first state called, Alabama. President Trump, I think, won Alabama by like 80 points. Actually, he won it by 30 points. They can object to Alabama in 2017, but tell us we can't object to Pennsylvania in 2021? Pennsylvania, where the state Supreme Court just unilaterally extended the election to Friday? Pennsylvania, where the Secretary of State unilaterally changed the rules, went around the legislature in unconstitutional fashion. Pennsylvania, where county clerks in some counties, and you can imagine which counties they were, let people fix their ballots against the law, cure their ballots, their mail-in ballots, direct violation of the law. And they tell us we tried to overturn the election. Guess who the second objector was in 2017? The individual managing the impeachment for the Democrats. Americans are tired of the double standard. They are so tired of it. Democrats object to more states in 2017 than Republicans did last week, but somehow we're wrong. Democrats can raise bail for rioters and looters this summer, but somehow when Republicans condemn all the violence this summer, the violence last week, somehow we're wrong. And Democrats can investigate the President of the United States, as Mr. Hoyer went through, try to impeach him, investigate him for 4 years, but will not look at an election that 80 million Americans, half the electorate, 80 million, Republicans and Democrats have their doubts about. I said this last night. I do not know where all this goes, and this is frightening for the country. We should defeat this rule, and we should defeat the impeachment resolution when it comes up.
Gentleman's time's expired.
Right. So that's all I wanted to show you, Jim Jordan. There's a couple more on this one, but I'm going to skip those for now. Yeah, Okay, in fact, let's talk about that. Is this the one right here? Oops, hang on a second. I'm going to move this one. Give me just a second here. Where's the one I want to? I'm going to go skip a couple of these real quick. Give me 1 second. Oh, did I not? Oh, shoot. Okay, I did not save that one. I had an article on all the Democrats that had objected to the vote counts in 2016. And like he said, Democrats challenged more states than the Republicans did this year. Pretty wild to even think that. Anyway, moving on. The Capitol riot and sacred temples to democracy. As if these fuckers really give a shit about democracy, even though we're a representative public. If government buildings are indeed temples, they were first desecrated long before last Wednesday by the actions of our representatives. Hours after perhaps 1,000 Trump supporters misbehaved in the Capitol, while outside, tens of thousands of Trump supporters were well behaved in a mostly peaceful protest, I might add. Purple rhetoric was the order of the night. In the Senate chamber, a lot of verbal striking was going on, but I was particularly struck by these words by Dick Durbin from Illinois. I just wanted to make sure that I emphasized Dick Durbin, who said, quote, "This is a special place. This is a sacred place, but this sacred place was desecrated by a mob today on our watch. This temple to democracy was defiled by thugs who roamed the halls, sat in that chair, Mr. Vice President, the one that you vacated at 2:15 this afternoon." Now, his talk about sacred places and temples has stirred me to pitch in a few observations. Just because it's a temple doesn't mean that what goes on inside is inexcusable. Jesus drove the money changers, those profiting like parasite from sacred practices from the temple. The Apostle Paul later rebuked a fellow named Simon for bringing money into the spiritual equation, and thus we have the sin of simony, whose practitioners can be found, according to Dante's Inferno, 8 floors down in the 9-story basement of hell. Perhaps some of the priests Durbin's political temple should double-check their sacred status in this connection. FTG to Dick Durbin. Dick Durbin. Contemporary observance of Hanukkah and the fielding of quadrennial Maccabiah games harken back to what many consider Jewish relief from the abominations of desolation named prophetically in Daniel 9 and 11. These familiar observances are grounded in the 2nd century BC response to the acts of the Hellenistic tyrants Antiochus Epiphanes, I don't know how to say that, who in contempt for the temple's founding purpose sacrificed pigs on its altar. His indifference toward the biblical deliverance of Moses fomented the Maccabean revolt, which concluded with the restoration of menorah lighting in the temple. Now, with many legislative abominations to their credit, the Durbins of that body, I mean the dicks, of that body should exercise some restraint in essentially calling these Trump supporters an army of Antiochus for their actions last Wednesday. Indeed, what shall we make of those who, rather than sacrifice pork, nurture large herds of gratuitous and offensive pork within that sacred space? Beyond the Capitol itself, the preferred and well-regulated voting booth is another sacred temple to democracy whose status has been degraded in our day with no obvious concerns from the dicks, also known as the Durbinites. The Bible speaks of the body, too, as a temple, and surely the foundational sacred space is the womb from which, one by one, the people, as in demos of democracy and the common people, emerge. These developing and forthcoming little peoples are themselves temples wherein the Holy Spirit might reside, 1 Corinthians 6:19. What shall we make of the priests of democracy's temple who do everything they can to enable and even encourage the desecration of these primal temples of democracy? George Washington said famously in his farewell address, quote, "Let us with caution indulge the supposition that morality can be maintained without religion, whatever may be considered to influence of refined education of minds of peculiar structure. Reason and experience both forbid us to expect that national morality can prevail in exclusion of religious principle." It is the same theme we find in remarks by John Adams made by officers of the 1st Brigade, 3rd Division of the Massachusetts Militia. Quote, "Our Constitution was made only for moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. If that's the case, then homes and places of worship are first responder temples to democracy. For this is where the populace is best prepared to rule. In this connection, Bible study and prayer among a parent and child has been called to the family altar. So beware of politicians who marginalize, minimalize, or even stigmatize devotion to the sort of family and church that Washington and Adams had in mind when they said these things. Feel free to ask whose political fortunes feed off the wreckage of church and home." Now, I am not necessarily endorsing that entire bit there, but because I know there are people who are not believers of anything, well, not those things, and still have a very strong moral compass. So just take the words for what they're worth. I live in Nashville, where a replica of the Parthenon stands in Central Centennial Park. Inside, you find a remarkable statue of a bogus goddess, Athena, holding in her hand the statue of another bogus goddess, Nike. Impressive temples, empty worship, but that's pretty much all these Athenians had to go on. Same thing with senators who call the Capitol a sacred temple to democracy, but are impatient with the truth, wisdom, and constraints of the Bible. Or just of their oath of office. Let's put it that way. They make things up in the vanity of your own fevered imaginations and then enforce acquiescence on others. And what better place to do so than the high temple of civic power? When I was a kid, our church choir began each service with a call to worship, beginning with, "The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. Keep silence, keep silence, keep silence before him." Now that the Durbans of this world are high priests of the Senate temple, their acolytes are in a scramble to silence the opposition through big tech censorships and other means. They seem to be keener on demi-democracy or meso-democracy, with only half of the people having anything worthwhile to say. And so they presume to enter the sacred temple of democracy, singing, quote, "The left is in its holy temple. Let all the nation keep silence before them. Keep silence, keep silence, keep silence before them." And for that, I say, FTG, Dick Durbin. Did you see this? This Democrat accused GOP lawmakers of abetting protesters and helping them do reconnaissance mission on the riot. So this woman, I'm not going to go through it. I'm just going to give you the short footnote. You can read it yourself. Democratic Representative Mickey Sherrill of New Jersey claimed in a short video interview posted on Facebook that some of her Republican congressional colleagues led people through the United States Capitol last Tuesday on what appeared to be a reconnaissance mission ahead of Wednesday's attacks. She is asking that some of these congressmen, which often do give tours of the building, she was saying that they were taking these people that they're taking through were doing reconnaissance to tell people where they could find different people and so on. It's incredible. It's an incredible accusation, but it's also just sounds like bullshit to me. But it'll be in the tabs if you want to read it. Also, apparently some transgender gypsy heckler took over Chuck Schumer's press conference. Do they have video? I want to see the video, and it doesn't look like they do. Do they got a link to it? Let's see. It seems that Maxine Waters advised to citizens to follow elected leaders everywhere they go and give them hell is being taken seriously by not only the left-wing radicals, but by the newly radicalized right, too. Chuck Schumer got a jarring earful from one of his constituents recently. After humiliating Schumer with some, often hilarious insults that I won't reprint here, but hit the play button, thank me later, the self-identified transgender gypsy pointed out that the Democrats can dish it out, but they sure can't take it. Ain't that the truth? We all remember the summer of rioting we all endured while Democratic mayors in every city on fire ordered police to stand down and allowed rioters to burn and loot. Where is the video? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is this it? No, that's Maxine Waters. I just want to play it. I just want to play it, and then there's no link. Oh, here. It's right here. Duh. I didn't already open it. It's right here. Let's try this. Let's listen to the heckler. This gonna be good. This gonna be good. Here it is. Oh, here he goes. Here is he getting. It's 2 minutes 18 seconds long. Hold on here. Let's
anti-Semite. I am glad I didn't think that.
Okay.
Take your hands off me. No, you don't need to talk to me. I'm talking to this racist anti-Semite. I am glad.
She called him a racist anti-Semite.
That the Trumpsters had it in them. I didn't think the conservatives did. But you know what? You racist socialists can dish it out, but you can't take it. And remember this. Adolf Hitler was a socialist. And that's exactly who you follow. You're nothing but a coward. Seeing you hide underneath your desk, I actually got sexually excited over it. That's how much I loathe you. That's how much I'm glad what they did. And like Nancy Pelosi said, people do what they do. After all, she doesn't care about monuments, and neither do I. And where the First Amendment doesn't say that you have to protest peacefully and politely.
Oh.
As long as there's outrage and unrest in our...
Okay, that's funny because she's pulling out all the quotes from these leftists and Democrats and media people. That's hilarious. Let's go all the way. Let's go.
There's going to be unrest in these streets. I don't give a shit whether you believe me. You're nothing but a cracker. That's all you are, is a racist cracker. You can dish it out. Look, you got protection. Why don't you tell them to stand down, hypocrite? Did you tell the Capitol Police to stand down? Did you tell them to stand down? Answer the question. No, stand down. He told the police to stand down in Kenosha, Seattle, Portland, Chicago, Boston, New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. And you know what? These Trump supporters are going to go to your house. They're going to go to Pelosi's house. They'll destroy her vineyards. And I will be right there to support them. Don't you say it's enough? No, shut up. Shut up.
Damn.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. This is a racist. He's an anti-Semite. He said if you criticize Obama, you're a racist, but he criticized him against the Iranian deal. Not only are you a racist, Schumer, you're a hypocrite. Take your hands off me, 6 feet. 6 feet. No. 6 feet. Stand down.
Oh.
Stand down. Stand down. You can dish it out, but you can't take it. Now you found out you're...
Damn. Okay, let's stop that video. So anyway, that's it's unfortunately the people around this person, they can't do anything. Why? Because you can't do anything against a trans person because that would get them in trouble. That's just, I mean, that's somewhat glorious. Okay, here's some of the articles that I'm not going to get to today. One here, hey, corporate execs. These will be in the tabs. Hey, corporate execs, here are some Democrats you can dump for undermining. Oh, this is it right here. This is what I want to show you for undermining democracy. So there's a corporate stampede to stop PAC donations to Republicans for the sin of voting against certifying electors from states on suspicion of election irregularities. Companies that have announced a suspension or ban on such donations started with Marriott and Commerce Bank shares. Hotels, American Airlines, BP, Coca-Cola, Goldman Sachs, Boston Scientific, Microsoft, Hallmark, Facebook, and Visa all said they will suspend and review political giving to both parties, while Airbnb, Verizon, AT&T, Comcast, American Express, MasterCard, and Dow, one of the largest chemical companies in the world, are halting donations to the Republican objectors, specifically for either a few months or an indefinite period of time. We certainly hope that these companies will be consistent and include Democrats who cast precisely the same vote in 2005 to object to Ohio electors for the purpose of investigating alleged irregularities in their donation ban. So here's a list of them. Let's see, did that work? Oh no, that's the wrong. Yeah, here's a list of the Democrats who did so. Let's see, on agreeing to the objection. So Corrine Brown, Carson, Clay, Clyburn, Conyers, Davis, Evans, Farr, Filner, Grijalva, Hastings from Florida, Hinchy, Jackson, Illinois, Jackson Lee from Texas, Johnson, Jones, Kilpatrick, Kucinich, Lee, Lewis, Markey, McKinney, Oliver, Owens, Pallone, Payne, Schakowsky, Thompson, Waters, Watson, and Woolsey. All these Democrats, 31 of them, were defiling democracy. I'll leave that up too. Democrats are using the recent Capitol riots to consolidate power. That's another one you can read on your own, but it seems kind of obvious they're trying to purge anyone who doesn't take the boot or doesn't lick the boot, so to speak. Also, and then they're so you heard the thing that they're going to talk about domestic terrorism. You think the Patriot Act was fucked up, and I think that's most of the Patriot Act should be repealed, although I didn't know any better when they were coming up with it, but now I'm like, oh, there's some kind of bullshit in there. Well, wait till you see the Domestic Terrorism Prevention Act. That's pretty much going to be solely aimed at far-right groups. The bill includes a long list of findings that reference terrorist acts allegedly committed by white supremacists or other far-right actors. It includes no reference to any other threats like, Antifa. And so you can read this at your peril. Finally, there was a woman in San Antonio was arrested for widespread vote harvesting and fraud, despite no evidence of fraud in the 2020 election. Now, granted, this was San Antonio, Texas, but you think she's the only one. I just, it's not like Tigger. I'm the only one. No. Anyway, so you can read that one. And then finally, the last one here. Oversight group presses justices to remove Cruz and Hawley from the Supreme Court bar. Based on what? Their constitutionally feasible objections to electors. They did nothing illegal. But a judicial oversight group is pressing to disqualify Senators Ted Cruz, who's argued before the Supreme Court many times, and Josh Hawley from the Supreme Court bar because of their connection to the Capitol riot. Prove the connection. You better fucking prove the connection. I'm just saying. Fix the Court, a nonpartisan watchdog, wrote in a letter Wednesday that the lawmakers engaged in conduct unbecoming an officer of the court by baselessly, okay, I got an idea. If it's baselessly, let's have some discovery. How about you charge them with a crime and then let's have some discovery? That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Hello, Tony Topanga. I didn't notice you were here, but I did now. Trump signed anti-Semitic hate speech laws today. Diddy, I'm not a fan of hate speech laws. I think you should well, whatever. We talked about that yesterday. See, no, was it? I think it was Avocado Diablo who got me on that about that, and that's because as soon as you started to get on to me about that California shit, you got me thinking, which is fantastic because sometimes it just has to be thinking about my position, and I'm like, oh, I kind of agree with him more than I agree with myself. And here we go. Hate speech laws. No, that's the corporate Democrat in Trump that I was always worried about in 2016. Trump's more liberal on things than some of us like to admit. He's not a conservative. So anyway. All right, gang, this is about that time because got stuff to do, and tomorrow I'm going to be on a plane, and so I'm probably I probably do a live show from the road on Saturday. Tomorrow I'm going to give you a replay of an episode that I went back and listened to that you'll probably enjoy. I might be in the chat, but I just won't be able to stream live from the airplane. So tomorrow will not be a live episode, but I will do a live episode on Saturday, hopefully to make up for that. So anyway, blizzard warnings for Alexandria, Minnesota. Where's my bourbon? Oh, that's right. You're out west. Yeah, that was my Lady Boomer told me that we might be dealing with some snow tonight. I'm going to be getting on a plane to a place that has even more snow, but the kind of snow that you want, not the kind of snow that you get here in Minnesota. But anyway, that's it for today. I will do the 2-year special again a week from Saturday. Friday, tomorrow will be a repeat show. Yes, I'm leaving on a jet plane, but I know when I'll be back again. Oh, I won't. Do I have a show Monday morning too? Well, no, our flight back is at 5:00 Mountain Time. So I will do a show Monday morning, but it's going to be a mobile show. It won't be a live. It'll be live, but it'll be mobile. So anyway, and then Tuesday we'll be back to normal. But anyway, before you think of clicking away from here, hit the like button. I got 50 people in the chat, 50 people here, 33 likes. Let's bump that number up. And also share the stream out if you can. Hit the arrow or put it on one of the social media things up there, except for Parler, because that's not working right now, but Minds and Gab is working. And of course Facebook and all that stuff if you want to share it. I don't know if you don't, I understand if people don't share stuff on their Facebook page, because I just don't like the hassle of talking about politics on Facebook, because I just don't want to hear just all the BS. But anyway, and I am here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, and if you'd like to donate to the show, you can do that through the links down below or through Super Chats and Streamlabs during the show. Streamlabs 24/7, Cashapp and Venmo 24/7, or Super Chats during the show. Thank you of all the people who donate today. This is Eric Tacklepack, a tall person. This is Kyle, Maddie, Tarai Deos, and Gunfox 61. Very kind of you and very generous of you to donate to the show. And there's something I gotta buy for the show, and I can't remember what. What was I gonna get? That's that's gonna take some saving up. I won't even talk about that yet. Oh, hard disk fail. I didn't see you here. Check your logic. Good morning to those of you I didn't say hi. And but anyway, I really appreciate everybody. But it's time for me to go. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Bye bye. Have a great day. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawg Knight, and I'm out of here.